Today on Vegan Freak Radio number 81, we talked to Dreena Burton about her new cookbook, Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan, for the 17th of November, 2007.
Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Bob.
And Jenna.
We're back again.
Hey, believe it or not.
For another version. It sounds like software. Version 2.0 of Vegan Freak Radio. My headphones are a little loud. Okay, anyway, we're back again. So, this week we have Dreena Burton on the show.
Yeah, we've dedicated the entire show to Dreena Burton.
Well, yeah.
Because, the cookbook is that awesome.
It is good. It is good indeed. We've been cooking a lot of stuff out of this, and it's her new release, and we talk all about it during the show, so we aren't going to give away too much.
Right.
But we thought we would talk to you briefly about where we're heading in the next couple weeks so you know what's going on.
Yes, hopefully by next Wednesday we will put out another short show. We want to talk about Thanksgiving and, do some silly things that we mentioned on the last show.
Yes, we have had some response to, shall we say, the question we asked last time about taste.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll do some voicemails,
And I'm sure on Wednesday we're going to play this a lot.
In a few moments, you can come up and pet the turkey if you want to.
See, you should be petting the turkey on Thursday, not eating the fucking thing.
Yes.
I said to my students the other day in class, I said, have a good Thanksgiving and don't eat any dead birds.
Let's hope a lot of them take your advice.
They won't, but
Of course.
One can dream.
Indeed.
So, yes. Okay, so anyway, we're going to have a show out on Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that are deciding not to join family or friends for Thanksgiving, you'll have something to do. You can listen to us for part of the day.
Yeah, or for those of you trying to get away from your family or whoever you're spending Thanksgiving with, you can put your headphones on.
Take your iPod and go find a little corner somewhere and relax.
There you go.
And then after that, the weekend after Thanksgiving, apologize for the U.S.-centric kind of nature of this, but, the weekend after, we're doing an interview with, we're going to run an interview with, what's this?
Nathan Winograd.
There you go. Couldn't remember his name. All I got was Nathan. And we're going to talk about his book, Redemption.
Let's get the subtitle here. The
Myth of Pet Overpopulation and the No-Kill Revolution in America. And this is a really interesting book because he talks about some of the complications that have gone on with kill shelters and kind of the politics behind it, and a new way of thinking about running shelters that does not involve killing healthy, fine, perfectly good animals.
Yes.
So there you go.
Okay. So we got lots of good shows coming up, so stay tuned.
Yep, and I think with that, we'll just roll right into Dreena.
All right. Okay, we're here with Dreena Burton, author of The Everyday Vegan and Vive la Vegan, and also the brand new cookbook, Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan. So welcome to our show, Dreena.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again, and it's fun to be on your show. Thanks.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. I'm here covered in peanut butter now.
We don't want to know the details.
Good
well,
point.
Maybe some people do.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, it has nothing to do with being kinky. I'm just trying to keep my dogs, by put some peanut butter on their nylabone, we're trying to keep them busy so they don't interrupt our interview. But anyway, Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan. What a beautiful book.
Thank you. I'm pleased with it. I'm really happy with it. I mean, it was a lot of it was tough to do with the two girls this time around being young, and so yeah, I'm really pleased with it.
Excellent. Did they get to help you out at all with coming up with some recipes?
Well, their idea of help is different than mine.
Of course.
Yeah, they like to be involved in the kitchen, but it takes a very long time to actually get through a recipe when they are. So, if I'm very close to finishing up a recipe or finishing, tweaking it, I'll let them sort of join in, but otherwise I try to keep them occupied somewhere else. But sometimes they'll name recipes. You see that throughout the book, like the sniffle soup, lentil soup. And so sometimes, the older girl will have her hand in naming recipes. So that's kind of fun.
So I noticed that you have some very kid-friendly recipes in your book as well. So especially the kids hummus. It's got ingredients that might be more appealing to kids and can hopefully introduce them into some new foods.
Yeah, I mean, with 2 kids, it's pretty important to have foods that are easy for them to eat and that pack a lot of nutrition. And I think that there's a number of recipes in the book that are kid-friendly, but they're also, adult-friendly too. And hummus is definitely one of those foods because you can add so many different flavors and ingredients and just to whatever your likes are. And there's a chapter on hummus, and so things range from the kids hummus that you mentioned, kids dynamo hummus, and has cashews and some flax and olive oil in there, and nutritional yeast, and just things that will really boost up the nutritional value of it. And then the chapter has other recipes like chipotle lime 2-bean hummus and a white bean hummus with fresh basil and thyme, and all kinds of different recipes in there. So, unless you're hummus purist and you don't want to go outside that box of the original hummus, there's lots of things in there to keep you happy.
That stuff sounds great.
Yeah, how do you come up with so many hummus recipes? I was so impressed that you had an entire chapter on hummus.
I got very obsessed with it. In fact, since doing the book, I've come up with 2 new hummus recipes.
Excellent.
And I just did one and I was like, I wish I could have put that in the book. And my husband just rolls his eyes at me because he's like, don't go there. Don't think
No
about
more
another
hummus.
book. But it's I don't know, it's just real fun. It's almost just like a canvas that you can play with. And I really love chickpeas. But then I did some recipes using other beans, like the white beans, and then the 2-bean hummus. The chipotle lime one has kidney beans and chickpeas. And so I kind of think of, sometimes I just try to think of sort of ethnic flavors or international flavors and how they could go into a hummus. And that's kind of the road I went with the hummus recipes. And we were just eating so much hummus because the kids love it, and I love giving it to them. And so we kind of got tired of the same standard hummus we were having, and I just started going crazy with it. The food presser was going about 2 or 3 times a day with mine.
How do you come up with recipes generally? I mean, it seems like such a hard thing for those of us that, Jen and I, we cook a lot, but we don't often kind of go to the trouble of innovating our own food when there are so many other good cookbooks out there. And I always think, man, how hard is it to come up with this stuff? It must be really impossible. And I'm wondering kind of what your creative process is like.
It's really interesting, Bob, because when I wrote my first cookbook, I honestly didn't know if I'd do another. I thought, well, will I be able to come up with more recipes? And now I find the more that I'm creating recipes, the more I'm able to create recipes. It's kind of strange. It's like I can sit and just have this idea pop in my head, and I'll run out and jot it down. Or sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I think, oh, that would be cool. Or I see something that's very, obviously not vegan, that has milk or eggs in it, and I think of a way to make it so, or to replace the meat component with tofu or whatever it might be. But it's weird. It's like once you're in that mind frame of sort of playing with food, you just kind of want to keep doing it if it's something you're interested in. And I honestly could think I could do another book, but it's such a big project. I don't even really want to think about it right now. But
yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, it is, as you guys know. So it's just one of those things that I guess my mind is there and I enjoy it. So it's always sort of churning about. There's always something that kind of pops into my mind.
That's cool. You must go through tons and tons of food coming up with ideas.
God, our food bill is atrocious. And yeah, we have kids, but I mean, it wouldn't be so much if I wasn't out, buying produce and just grains and beans and just always having to test things out because, sometimes batches don't work, but you just tend to go through more stuff and some of it spoils and some of it goes in the freezer and you forget about it or whatever. So yeah, we go through a lot of food, but it's, I always justified it. It's good food. It's healthy.
Exactly.
Well,
it's good for our family. We're not wasting it on things.
Do you ever come up with things? I mean, most of the stuff in your book all the stuff in your book is amazing, but I imagine there have to be times you come up with recipes you're like, I don't like this so much, or is everything you do just brilliant?
No, totally. There's even times I think, should I put this one in the cookbook because I know that it may appeal to some people, but there's some recipes that I think have a broad appeal, and then I think there's some recipes that have like a sort of like a very, smaller appeal, that a certain group of people will like them, but other people won't. And so sometimes I really hesitate with those because I don't know if it's a good one to put in there, and then, you're looking at me like, oh, this sucks. So it's tricky. And then there are some that I've probably got about 50 that I've worked on, and I have like in my files that I just haven't either tweaked the way I wanted to, or they're just not at a place that I wanted them to be, or they turned into something else. So they got so confusing for me that I just gave up on them. So there's times, I just either ditch it or it becomes something else altogether.
Excellent. And in coming up with recipes for this book, do you think that there's like a different feel to the book or emphasis in this book that wasn't in your previous cookbooks?
And I don't know how to sort of put a finger on it, really. I think it's like, I think they're mostly very quick, and I think that they're simpler in the sense that a lot of it, I try to let a lot of the ingredients sort of just speak for themselves and not be too overwhelmed with, extras here and there, and just use a lot of fresh ingredients. So some of my recipes look like they have a lot of ingredients, and sometimes that's necessary to build flavors, like in soups. I really find that you need to build a lot of flavor in soups, or it can be quite bland. So sometimes a soup recipe might have like a list of 10 spices or something. But then other ones, like in the hummus or like some of the tofu recipes, it's not quite so many ingredients, and it's just like maybe just a little bit simpler. But also I just wanted to really show people with the book that, I'm so tired of hearing people say, oh, you must really miss blank, or you can't have this. And I mean, I've heard it for over 10 years now, and I feel like, no, vegan food is not what about we're not eating or what we can't eat. It's about what we are eating and what we can like show people is so great about what we're eating. And, it's fun and great food. And that's really what I wanted to put into the book was, it doesn't have to be complicated, but it's just fun food, and some of it can be just so tasty and exciting, and it's so frustrating because all these people out there think that vegan food is so bland, and it's not.
No, I think that's such a great perspective to have, though, because in teaching classes about animal rights these days, I've had students complain, I don't like tofu or whatever, and they have this concept that the vegan food is bland, and I think, man, how many different kinds of meat are there? And then how many hundreds of vegetables are there? It's like...
It's so true. And I always, like when people always say to me about tofu, I always say, do you just steam your chicken? Or, do you just boil your chicken? No, you marinate it. You put it with flavors. It's the same thing with tofu. And that's what food's about. And any vegetable that you roast has such incredible flavor. And then if you add some, good seasoning to it, it's just simple. But people are so confused about what the food is, and they think it's bland or that it's sprouts, So it's I've just over the years I've just heard that message so much that I thought, I'm sick of this. It's like we need to show that our food is to be celebrated, and I think we're getting there. I mean, there's so many cookbooks out now, and really good cookbooks, and just almost like a real passion for vegan food now that I think it's starting to slowly, the message will penetrate slowly, hopefully.
No, I think that's true. I think it is. And I also think this is a really important part of veganism in general, is that we make it seem, that we actually show the wide variety of foods and that it's a livable thing. So I think you're doing a very good job with that.
Well, thank you.
And summed up very well in the title of your book as well, Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan. It has that celebratory kind of feel to it.
and it's it is just that. It's eat vegan, drink vegan, and be vegan. Whole thing, and it just has this complicated message out there, but it's not.
So, what are some of the highlights of this book? Maybe some of your favorite recipes, or I know it's tough.
It's like asking her to pick her favorite child.
It is true. It's hard. It's very hard, and it's funny because now that the book is done, there's some recipes that I go to because they're simple, but I tend to move on and do new things. So, but when I was doing lots of testing, I really love doing the Thai chicken pizza because it's just such a fun twist on a pizza, and it has the peanut sauce as the base. And I don't use a lot of mock meats and things, so there's chickpeas in that you sort of sprinkle onto the sauce, and then fresh veggies and pineapple. I know pineapple on pizza may be just so foreign to some people, but it's really good when you have that accent of the sweetness against a real sort of saltier component. It's quite good. And I really love the Moroccan phyllo rolls. It's people think phyllo is really scary and intimidating, and it's not. And you can buy whole wheat phyllo too, so you can have it a little healthier. And you just basically sort of roast all of the veggies with Moroccan seasonings, and there's some dried apricots in there too. And then when it's just about finished, toss in the chickpeas and let it cool a bit and roll them into the phyllo. And then I serve it with a balsamic maple sauce, and it's just really good. And I think it's one of those meals that you could serve like for a special dinner or like maybe for Thanksgiving. And it's just kind of, special and fun. And then some of the more go-to recipes that I really love and I go to a lot are the cashew ginger tofu and the savory lepui lentils. And then I could go on, but I love the hummuses and the raw, and some of the raw recipes I have in the book. That's the first time I've done raw recipes, and that was real fun.
I was going to ask you about that, because I noticed that, they haven't been in your previous versions, but you've tried some of them here.
Yeah, I just, you sort of come, cooking and learning about food, it's just sort of an evolution. I mean, you just kind of keep learning as you're going, and of course, the raw food movement has really blossomed, and I started to learn a little bit more about raw foods, and I'm certainly nowhere near raw food as myself. I love my warm soups and that kind of thing, but I do like how the simplicity of something like nuts can be transformed into a dip and be very tasty, or the Caesar dressing that I have in the book, and it's it's just blending up some nuts or seeds with the seasonings, and then you have this creamy dressing. It's just a cool concept. I really like it. So I had fun with that. And so those are some of my favorite things.
Excellent. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite highlights of the book is the Caesar dressing with the polenta croutons. And we've made that a couple times now already, and it's just so tasty. And you're making the dressing. You're like, wait, these ingredients don't, and the outcome doesn't seem like it should go together, but it does. It tastes really good.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh, yeah, that's excellent. It's not that hard. I mean, as long as you have an immersion blender, or if you have a high-speed blender, you can do it too. But I use my little immersion blender for everything. I think one day it's just going to split in two. I put it through the ringer so much. It sounds like there's a construction zone in my kitchen some days. But it's real fun. And I like that dressing because you can then, you can use it as a spread on sandwiches, or, I've heard people put it into pastas. They've told me they've done that kind of thing. So it lends itself to other foods, although it doesn't become very raw anymore. Then something else.
True. I think we've even modified it once to make it more ranch-like than Caesar-like, just putting some different seasonings in it. Maybe some basil instead of the kelp powder that's in there.
Nice.
So,
It worked out well.
Nice. Yeah. Excellent. I was actually thinking of doing a raw ranch dressing, so knowing that you've tinkered with it inspired me to do it again. I have all these ideas of what I want to work on, but... Well,
good. That means you're having more cookbooks in the future.
Well, I'm saying no. My husband's looking at me like, he just knows how I'm either in the kitchen or on the computer, and it's not such a good thing, but I'm working on recipes for the Food Network Canada website.
Oh, wonderful.
They have like an online source of recipes, and so I'm doing 20 recipes for them, and obviously they're all vegan, so I think it's kind of cool that they're even, because I was quite clear with them that I didn't want the recipes to be modified and then them to include any, dairy or anything like that, and they said, no, we won't do that kind of thing. So it's neat that they're going to actually include some very specific vegan recipes.
That is good to hear. Do you think in your experience that there's more of a receptivity to veganism out there with people? I mean, in any kind of your dealings with quote unquote the mainstream?
I mean, I'm even sometimes surprised. I mean, sometimes I feel like I live in a bubble almost because I've been vegan so long that I think most people are eating healthier and stuff, and then I go to the grocery store and I see that clearly they're not. But then I'm sometimes surprised too, like our daughter's teacher, she came up to me one day and I had told her that, well, it was actually because they had this ice cream day at school, and I explained to my daughter that there'd be popsicles there, so she could have a popsicle, and she said, good, because I told my teacher I don't eat meat. And so these things come up in school, obviously, and her teacher came up to me one day and she said, what is it exactly that Charlotte doesn't eat? Because I'm kind of confused. She told me she couldn't have dairy. She said, is she vegan? And I said, yeah. But I don't even sometimes say that out to people because I don't know what they know of it. And sometimes I think they're confused by it. So, and she said, oh, okay. And then when Halloween came around, she had done little bags of goodies for the kids. And Charlotte had a bag that she brought home. And I asked her, when she brought it to the car, I said, okay, well, make sure I'm going to have to go through and make sure it's vegan. And she said, no, my teacher told me it is. She did it for me. It's vegan. And I thought, wow, that was really actually thoughtful, because all the other kids had, you know, their regular bags of chocolate and stuff. So I dropped her a note and said, you know, thank you.
That is great.
That's
it
wonderful.
was. I mean, you know, you do get people who are, you know, you talk to them and you get the sort of standard, oh, I'm a diehard carnivore. You get that kind of thing. But then you get other people who are much more progressive and open-minded, and it's nice.
Excellent. One of the other misconceptions that you talk about in the introduction to your cookbook is that vegan food takes a long time to make and that people don't have time to cook healthy meals and everything. So what are some of the things that you tell people, or some of the suggestions you might have for a busy person, you know, with kids or whatever, things that they can do during the work week to make, you know, healthy vegan meals?
Okay, that's such a good question, Jenna, and I think that is, I mean, I've heard that so much. It takes too long to cook vegetarian, and I think that a lot of the cookbooks that maybe have been out in the past maybe were a little bit more involved. I even know for myself, some of my first recipes were more involved than the ones I have now, and just by necessity, I have to make them quicker. And I mean, my days sort of in pockets of things that I do with the girls, and have to get home and sort of run errands and do things with school, and, you know, whatever color day at preschool, and there's a field trip here, so there's lots going on, and you know, if I'm able to get these meals out, then I think, you know, anybody else can too. And so for me, especially this time of year, one of the things that I really love is soups, because, when I make recipes for soup, sometimes people email me and say, man, that soup is huge. But I make big batches of soups because I think that they're the easiest and best thing to freeze. And then you can pull out leftovers any time during the week and, you know, pair it with some rice or some whole grain bread or something, and you're just set with a salad for a meal. And then keep, you know, make sure your stock, make sure your pantry is stocked and your freezer and your fridge. I mean, I know you hear those things all the time, but, you know, really, if you go to do a recipe and you don't have the things you need, it's just frustrating. You don't want to make another trip. But I tend to do a lot of soups, and the tofu dishes that I have in this book are pretty easy, like one pot sort of dishes, and most of my recipes are like one pot dishes. Like I have a jambalaya, it's all just done in the pot. The cashew ginger tofu that I mentioned, all the ingredients are just whizzed together and poured over the tofu in a baking dish and pop into the oven, and then you can pull that out and pair it with some rice or quinoa and a salad, and you've got a meal. So I think having a little bit of prep and then doing a few soups for the week to get you going, it keeps through the week, soups or casseroles, because I just think that those things can extend, have like a life that keep you going.
Definitely. Yeah, we love to make soups. We'll make a big batch and then we'll have dinner and lunches, or 2 dinners. It's nice.
It'll keep you going.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And that's another reason why I did a chapter on hummus, because I just find that's a real staple for us, that not only is it good for lunches, but, you know, you can throw it into a wrap and make a burrito with it, or spread it onto a piece of shell, like a whole wheat piece of shell, or a whole wheat tortilla, and like pre-bake the tortilla. And I do that a lot. And then you've got a dinner all of a sudden. If you have a big enough batch of hummus, well, you turn it into a dinner. So those are the kinds of things that kind of get us through. And then we also keep some things on hand that, you know, just to help out, like some frozen entrees and that kind of thing. in a pinch, you need those things. And then when you have a little more energy, you can get back to cooking some things that will keep you going, like soups and get your beans stocked and that kind of thing.
Excellent. Next week here is Thanksgiving, and for a lot of people, it's a really hard holiday to get through. And I know you don't celebrate Thanksgiving next week. You already celebrated it.
It's weird. We did it way back.
Way back in October.
Yeah, right. Way before Halloween.
Yeah. So, well, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what your Halloween, your Thanksgiving meal is like.
We keep Thanksgiving really low key, and I don't know, it's very different in Canada, I think, than I know it is than in the U.S. I think U.S. it's almost like another Christmas or something. It's like, another Christmas meal. And for us, in growing up, Thanksgiving was not a big part of our, it wasn't a huge celebration for us. And maybe how we grew up in Newfoundland, it was different than now growing up or living in British Columbia. So it is a little bit more popular here, but we keep it pretty low key with like a nice soup and again, like just a nice meal, but fairly simple. But I think if you wanted to do something special that, with some vegan dishes, try out the Moroccan fella rolls with the balsamic maple sauce. I just think you'd really find that like a special meal, and you could pair it with, there's an autumn puree in the book that is made with sweet potatoes and yams and pureed. You could do that kind of thing, or some coconut lime rice or something like that. And there's also a cranberry sauce in there, so there's, that sort of seasonal elements are there that you could do some dishes. But, I think if you get some flavorful dishes and just pair them with things that are seasonal, like cranberries and yams, and even if you were to do yam fries, I say yams because that's what we use in Canada, but it's sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes, yep.
I can't tell you how many people email me about yams because my earlier books had used yams, and anyways, it's sweet potatoes. But yeah, if you use some seasonal things like that, and then you don't miss out on anything. And I think you could serve a meal like that to, an omnivore, and they would enjoy it. I can't see how they wouldn't.
Definitely. I think those fowler rolls that you mentioned would definitely be impressive to any kind of guest, doesn't matter what they eat.
Because you want something special more than anything, like a meal that you wouldn't have every night of the week. And so if you do that and make a nice dessert, like the chocolate pumpkin pie, and I have that one on there's some recipes that I have posted on my blog, and the chocolate pumpkin pie is there, and then that's very festive too.
Yeah.
I think I want to try that one out at some point, because I don't particularly like pumpkin pie all that much, but you put chocolate together with anything and it just sounds really good.
Well, exactly. It's good with anything. And it's really easy to make too, so it doesn't take much time at all. Like, you could have all the prep work done in about 15, 20 minutes, and then it just has to bake. Super easy.
Excellent. And the other thing about this season is, I know in our pantry we're kind of overloaded with root vegetables. So, what are some of your favorite ways to use them up? I know you mentioned the autumn puree.
Sorry?
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. For me, I really love roasting winter vegetables, and it's just, I don't know. For me, when you roast them, the flavors really intensify. They just become much more concentrated. And so, if you were to take, say, rutabaga and sweet potatoes and say butternut squash or whatever you have, and peel them and just cube them and toss them with olive oil and salt and maybe some chopped rosemary or a little bit of chopped thyme or sage. It's just, flavors are just there because once you roast them and they just get so yummy and sort of golden brown, it's delicious. That's one of my favorite things to do. And then the other thing I like to do with things like winter squash, because they're so big and they're just like beasts.
They are.
To deal with in your kitchen. They're just huge and hard to cut into, is to roast them whole first or bake them whole. And then once they're cooked and soft, you can just easily cut them and scoop out all the seeds and just get the flesh and then puree them with some seasonings into a soup. So that's, you just simmer some onions and garlic and celery, say, and then get whatever squash you're doing. And just scoop out all the flesh and puree them into a soup. And I like to add sweet potato to it sometimes because it makes it creamier.
That's making me really hungry.
We shouldn't have scheduled this interview over our dinner time because I'm getting really hungry.
Excellent. And so people can go to your website to find updates about the book and you said some of the recipes. What's the website address again?
It's still my my Vive la Vegan blog. I haven't changed the name, so it's vivelavegan.blogspot.com. And when they're there, they can click through on the right side to the recipe page. And I've posted some from Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan, and then there's some archives of recipes from Vive and the Everyday Vegan as well. So they can, try out some things. Like I've got chipotle lime 2-bean hummus is there, and the sniffle soup, and chocolate pumpkin pie. And I've got to get a couple more up there, but my computer crashed early this week. So,
oh man,
I know.
That sucks.
I've had it for a while, though. I knew it was going to happen. So I'll get some more up there later as well.
And people can find your book where? At Amazon? Where else?
Pretty much anywhere. Amazon and any bookstores. And if there's a local bookstore that they go to and they want to, that store they want to shop at, just ask them to bring it in, because sometimes that's what's needed. Sometimes bookstores don't always sort of bring the book in, but if you go in and say, will you bring it in, then they'll stock it. So, because I know some people they want to shop at their little local independent stores, so do that. But otherwise, it should be out there everywhere pretty much. And so it's there. I also thought that we could maybe, I don't know how we could work it, and we can talk about it later, but maybe do a giveaway or along the way in your podcast. Yeah.
That would be great.
I know our listeners would like that.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Excellent.
We'll have to come up with that. Definitely. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, Dreena. We really appreciate it. And wonderful. Best of luck with your new cookbook. It's a wonderful book. I highly recommend it to everybody because we've been cooking like mad out of it. So
it's good stuff.
Thank you so much for being on.
Oh, I totally appreciate that. And I'm glad that you're finding use out of it. That's like the best compliment ever, to know that people have found, a selection of recipes that they like, and the book is getting crumpled and dirty. That's a good thing.
Yes, ours is definitely stained already. Okay, once again, thank you to Dreena. And we have a surprise for those of you who've listened this far into the show. We are going to give away a copy of Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan. So, there you go.
Is that happening?
Yes. Actually, we aren't going to give it away. Dreena's going to give it away.
Yes, but
through our show.
We have one.
Right.
So,
for the person who sends us the 5th email that we receive
that's right, the 5th email. Number 5.
Number 5.
Big caller number 5. Go ahead.
It's not the random. 5th email that we receive at the address giveaway@veganfreak.com.
That's VEGANFREAK.com.
You will receive a signed copy of Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan.
That's right. So, get those emails rolling.
Yes.
Cool.
Very cool. And so thank you to Dreena for offering a copy of her cookbook to our listeners.
That's right.
And I hope you all are hungry now, because I know I am.
I am too.
After doing that interview.
Absolutely. So. And we recorded it over our normal dinner time, which was tough.
It was hard.
Actually, a little earlier than we normally eat dinner, but still, I was hungry.
Yes.
But we got it. And anyway, you should go out and get a copy of Dreena's book. It's good. Dreena knows her shit. So check her blog and, stay tuned.
All right. So, well, I think that's about it for our show today.
Cool. I think that is it for now. Mm-hmm. But we'll be back soon.
We will be.
We want to make up for being behind.
Yeah, so we'll have a couple new shows out this week. And I hope you all have a good holiday. We'll talk to you before that, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in case you don't hear it, hear the next one until afterwards. Hope everybody survives the dead bird holiday. At least in the U.S.
Yeah.
Those of you who aren't in the U.S. don't have to worry about this.
That's true. We'll talk more about this later on. Yes. So, in any case, thanks for listening. Be in touch with us and take care.
Bye.
Uh-oh. There we go. Wait, got it.
It's so We no longer enslave animals for food purposes.
Today on Vegan Freak Radio number 81, we talked to Dreena Burton about her new cookbook, Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan, for the 17th of November, 2007.
Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Bob.
And Jenna.
We're back again
Hey, believe it or not.
for another version. Sounds like Soft Taste.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll do some voicemails,
And I'm sure on Wednesday we're going to play this a lot.
In a few moments, you can come up and pet the turkey if you want to.
See, you should be petting the turkey on Thursday, not eating the fucking thing.
Yes.
I said to my students the other day in class, I said, have a good Thanksgiving and don't eat any dead birds.
Let's hope a lot of them take your advice.
They won't, but
Of course.
one can dream.
Indeed.
So, yes. Okay. So anyway, we're going to have a show out on Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving. For those of you that are deciding not to join family or friends for Thanksgiving, you'll have something to do. You can listen to us for part of the day.
Yeah. Or for those of you trying to get away from your family or whoever you're spending
There you go.
Thanksgiving with, you can put your headphones on.
Take your eyewear. Version 2.0 of Vegan Freak Radio. My headphones are a little loud. Okay, anyway, we're back again. So this week we have Dreena Burton on the show.
Yeah, we've dedicated the entire show to Dreena Burton
Well, yeah.
because, the cookbook is that awesome.
It is good. It is good indeed. We've been cooking a lot of stuff out of this, and it's her new release, and we talk all about it during the show, so we aren't going to give away too much.
Right.
But we thought we would talk to you briefly about where we're heading in the next couple weeks so you know what's going on.
So hopefully by next Wednesday, we will put out another short show. We want to talk about Thanksgiving and, do some silly things that we mentioned on the last show.
Yes, we have had some response to, shall we say, the question we asked last time about iPod and go find a little corner somewhere and relax.
There you go.
And then after that, the weekend after Thanksgiving, apologize for the U.S.-centric kind of nature of this, but, the weekend after, we're doing an interview with, we're going to run an interview with, what's this?
Nathan Winograd.
There you go. I couldn't remember his name. All I got was Nathan. And we're going to talk about his book, Redemption.
Let's get the subtitle here.
The Myth of Pet Overpopulation and the No-Kill Revolution in America. And this is a really interesting book because he talks about some of the complications that have gone on with kill shelters and the kind of the politics behind it, and a new way of thinking about running shelters that does not involve killing healthy, fine, perfectly good animals.
Yes.
So there you go.
Okay. So we got lots of good shows coming up, so stay tuned.
Yep. And I think with that, we'll just roll right into Dreena.
All right. Okay, we're here with Dreena Burton, author of The Everyday Vegan and Vive la Vegan, and also the brand new cookbook, Eat, Drink, and Be Vegan. So welcome to our show, Dreena.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again, and it's fun to be on your show. Thanks.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. I'm here covered in peanut butter now.
We don't want to know the details.
Good
well,
point.
maybe some people do.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, it has nothing to do with being kinky. I'm just trying to keep my dogs, by put some peanut butter or nylabone, we're trying to keep them busy so they don't interrupt our interview. But anyway, eat, drink, and be vegan. What a